Intel spent 3 days. We've got to hear a lot of NDA info, so we're only going to be able to keep this pretty high level for everybody. But we had 3 days of meetings, listening to some of the leaders across, from Bob Swan, the CEO, to some of their leaders in tech, to some of their leaders in data center and in client compute, as well as the labs business, Pat. So very much going on. You also wrote a really interesting piece this week about Intel Labs. We could probably talk about all this stuff for quite a while, but again, we can't share everything yet, but we will be sharing more soon. Pat, I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, when this is, I put this on my calendar, I really went in and I wanted to assess Intel's strategy, Intel's fab position, their products, and AI from a training point of view. And high level, this was NDA. I want to tell you where I ended up. So first of all, on strategy, I still think that Intel's strategy is the right one. It's one that is 6 pillars. It's one that leverages the definition of compute, which Intel calls the XPU, across multiple types of compute. I believe that for 20 years, and I still believe it here. And I also think right now IDM is still the right move for Intel, with the ability to tweak and tune the designs. And I think they're disaggregating the design, which makes a lot of sense. Now, then going into the fabs, which I think a lot of people think are completely broken. I ended up having more confidence about 7 nanometer, that I don't think it's going to wind up like 10. 10 nanometer for me has remained the same. I don't know yields. I don't know things like that. And I think it's important that even though you see desktop parts with features that are backported from 10 nanometer to 14 nanometer, those decisions had to be made. Those were made 2 years ago, when 10 nanometer confidence wasn't high at all. And the other thing is, I don't think going to external fabs is a bad decision, and negates a potential cost and tweakability advantage as an IDM. And when you look at a customer point of view, and yes, I was a Intel customer for 10 years, you want a predictable cadence. You want it feature complete, you want it on time, and you want it at a good cost. And I think if Intel has to go to a third-party fab, I don't consider that a failure. I do find it pretty ironic that nobody can get enough 7 nanometer or 5 nanometer today. Super ironic instead. So then there's the products. I left being a lot more confident with the client computing roadmap. I think GB is a rock star, and he answered all my questions. As far as Xeon goes, my view hasn't changed as it was before, and I feel like the data center team will be leaning a lot more on co-engineering, marketing, and customer value. I'm going to leave it there. I can't say too much. AI, to me, the training part, a lot of that got answered through reInvent when we were talking about Habana Gaudi. And make no mistake, you can't give free silicon to an AWS and have them create an instance off of it. It needs to be leading edge. And I feel one CSP make not a market, but when you have a CSP like an AWS adopt Habana Gaudi for training, you know that there is something there. And if I look at the timing, and Habana has been inside the Intel portfolio for about a year, I believe that AWS likely gave the business to Habana. Intel knew that, and they didn't go with the Intel solution before. And Intel ended up buying Habana. And I think it's one of the advantages to being kind of a massive company. Intel is still the largest silicon company on the planet, that if you get into a jam on your own designs, you can go out and buy somebody else's design. Whew, there we go.
Yeah, quite a bit there, Pat. And just a couple of thoughts I'll leave with there. One is I did definitely come back feeling a little bit refreshed and more confident. Look, there's no secret out there that Intel is under pressure. When you're the incumbent, when you're the biggest, everybody's gunning for you. You just have to know that that's the way. So the pressures are coming everywhere from Lisa Su, been doing a very good job at AMD, especially on the notebook business, but even on the EPYC business, competing with Xeon. We've seen new pressures there from NVIDIA, especially on the AI side. I mean, the company already had the market really pinned on the training side, and really saw a lot of growth in its inference side. The A100 only put further pressure there. You've got some pressure from even the cloud scale with Alibaba and Amazon, all doing their own silicon. So you've got, and then the ARM deal, which I didn't even mention, which is going to be massive. So there's a lot of forces, a lot of pressure. But Intel, as you said, is still the biggest. They still have a very encouraging roadmap. The disaggregation strategy, again, we can't get too deep into it, but the company clearly understands that it has a lot of IP, it has a lot of intelligence, and it needs to do some, it needs to do some innovation. It has the capabilities, it has the engineering, it has the resources to do those things. Last kind of thought is, you did mention on the Habana and the Gaudi. I just want to touch on that. Is I do really think it was a great win for the company. Like you said, how that came about is maybe not a mystery, but the thing about it is wins are wins, and you can get at them from different angles. That market is explosive. So Trainium will grow. The A100 instances and NVIDIA will grow, and Gaudi will grow. This will be a great way. And I guess I hate saying it because everyone's like, oh, are you upset that they're offering their own instance on Trainium? And my whole thought process is AI is still so early in its infancy in terms of what it's going to do. That market share is going to grow exponentially. And Intel is in the race with the biggest hyperscale cloud provider in the world. And I have a pretty strong feeling that will likely lead to wins from other big hyperscale cloud players.